What's going on, Dodger fans? Happy Saturday, July 26th. We're just a few days away from the MLB trade deadline. Kevin Klein flying solo for a special Dodgers trade deadline updates and current rumors. So we've got some funny little exciting tidbits that were just dropped in the last 24 hours involving your Los Angeles Dodgers. So thank you guys for tuning into the Incline Dodgers podcast. We are presented by Tick Pick and Fansided. Let's get into the big one. Brendan Donovan of the St. Louis Cardinals was linked to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Katie Wu dropped the story last night, Friday evening, that the Dodgers and the New York Yankees are two teams that have checked in with the St. Louis Cardinals for super utility baseball player Brendan Donovan, who is actually having an all-star season for the St. Louis Cardinals. So my initial thoughts on the Dodgers circling in on potentially making a deal to acquire Brendan Donovan. I like it. It wouldn't be the most flashy move per se, but I think it does move the needle for the Dodgers, and it certainly would make their lineup better. So at a brief high level of what Brendan Donovan has been doing for the Cardinals this season, he's hitting .293, has an on-base percentage of .360, and overall has an OPS of .788 because he's got 9 home runs and 42 RBIs. The guy is a hitting machine. He has 110 base hits this season. So there's no doubt about it that he was a well-deserved all-star. He's won a Gold Glove before. He's a good defender. He can play second base. He can play corner outfield. He can play third base. He's played a little bit of shortstop. So I think this fits the Dodgers mold for acquiring a versatile player that certainly you can plug all around the infield and outfield and help give some spot days offs as well as the occasional everyday role. So I think in terms of what we're seeing with Brendan Donovan, I mentioned he has a .360 on base percentage. This guy has a really good ability of drawing walks. I mean, he's done that consistently throughout his career. He's got a .363 on base percentage for his entire MLB career. So you're requiring a guy that just has a good eye, has an ability to get on base, and he doesn't strike out a whole lot. I mean, this season, he only has 56 strikeouts. You compare that to some of the Dodgers, they're already in the hundreds of strikeouts. I mean, the guy is a good contact hitter. In terms of overall power, he's not going to be a big power guy. I mean, last season he had 14 home runs over 153 games played. This season he has 9 home runs. So he kind of reminds me of the Tommy Edman mold, where he's not a power guy, but he's scrappy, he gets on base, and he is pretty much consistent in terms of any of the splits. I mean, for example, with runners in scoring position, Brendan Donovan's hitting .274 with a .751 OPS. With runners on, he's hitting .311 with an .804 OPS. Bases loaded, only 5 at-bats, but he's hitting .400. To lead off an inning, he's hitting .320 with an .893 OPS. So this is a very good addition for the Dodgers. Appreciate everyone tuning in. This is a YouTube only, so let's check out the comments. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done that yet. I'll take questions. I will read off comments in the chat as well. We've got MWG tuning in. What's going on, MWG? Javier T saying this sounds better than Confrado. We'll get to what Brendan Donovan's role would mean. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Happy Saturday. And Craig Osterberg. Hello. Hello to you as well. Brendan Donovan, what I would expect his role to be with the Dodgers, he'd probably be in the lineup just about every day. And I think the duration of where he would play for the most part defensively would be second base. My expectations would be you have Brendan Donovan at second base. I don't think the Dodgers are going to move Mookie Betts out of the shortstop position, even though we've talked about it a lot. That should be the move they do. But it seems like the Dodgers are pretty stubborn, and so Mookie will probably play shortstop. Donovan will play second. So what does that mean for Tommy Edman? I think you move Tommy Edman to center field, even though I love Tommy Edman at second base. I think that for the Dodgers to have the most optimal defensive lineup, you got to have Tommy Edman at center field then. Teoscar Hernandez needs to be moved to left field. Get him out of right field. He's been a disaster out there. He's the worst defensive right fielder in all of Major League Baseball. You have Teoscar Hernandez to left field, and then you can have Andy Pages play right field. So the Pages in right, Edman in center. Teoscar in left field. You've got Brendan Donovan, who can play second base. And then Mookie Betts will play shortstop. Max Muncy should be back in a couple weeks. There's your third baseman, of course, and Freddie Freeman will play first, of course, as obvious. You'll notice that Hye-Sung Kim is not in that everyday lineup, and I think that's part of the thinking here with, unfortunately, Hye-Sung Kim. He's kind of fizzled out. I mean, he is truly a rookie after all. He wasn't going to hit 400 for the full season. That was just an unrealistic expectation. His batting average is still high overall. I mean, you'll take a 303 batting average, but he certainly has been in a slump. I mean, over his last 15 games, he's hitting 186. He's got 20 strikeouts, over 43 at-bats. That's nearly a 50% strikeout rate. So unfortunately for Kim, he's battling some adjustments right now. And I think pitchers have kind of found his weaknesses, and it's going to be up to Kim to kind of make his adjustments and battle back and be that Hye-Sung Kim that came out of the gates white hot, was just getting on base at a rapid pace. Certainly was unsustainable. So I think Kim, you'll slide him to the bench, and I think that's some good depth on the bench, no doubt, for the Dodgers. Michael Conforto, I don't think he's going to be a Dodger after the trade deadline. I just have a really hard time envisioning that the Dodgers continue to roll him out there, because Michael Conforto has just not been good for the Dodgers. They gave him $17 million, and he hasn't performed like a $17 million player. He's performed like a $3 million player. I mean, he's still hitting 186. We're almost through the month of July at this point. 186 for anybody, especially a veteran like Conforto, who's been in the league for nearly 10 years. And it's not like he's up there in age either. He's 32. He needs to be doing better than a 186 batting average. So I don't think Conforto is going to be on the Dodgers after the trade deadline. I just have a hard time really envisioning that. What I love about Brendan Donovan as well, we mentioned the versatility. So he can play some corner outfield. If Mookie Betts needs a day off, maybe they give Donovan some shortstop run. And I wanted to just pull up defensively kind of what he looks like overall. So for the most part, he's played mostly second base this season for the Cardinals and some left field. Overall, hasn't graded out as an above average defender. So we are going to take a hit with some defense, but like I was talking about earlier, he's a really good hitter. He doesn't strike out a lot at all. He has a good ability to get on base. He's not fast either, so he's not going to steal that many bases. He only had 5 stolen bases last year. He's got 3 stolen bases this year. But Donovan's role is going to be to help lengthen the lineup. And, I mean, when you have a team as deep as the Dodgers, you just want a guy that can get on base and be a table setter for Shohei Ohtani. That's one of the things Ohtani has needed. I think that's kind of why he doesn't have the RBI numbers that he should have, because he's been leading off for the vast majority of the season. I know Mookie Betts was recently slid to the leadoff spot, but even Mookie Betts hasn't been getting on base at a crazy clip yet either since being moved to leadoff. And so how do you battle that back and counter it? Well, you got to get some guys at the bottom of the lineup who can get on base. And for a while, Hye-Sung Kim was getting on base in the 9-hole slot. Hasn't been doing that a whole lot lately. Tommy Edman has a pretty low on-base percentage as well. I know Tommy Edman has had a couple key hits in his last few games, but overall, for the season as a whole, Tommy Edman has not had a high on-base percentage rate. He's not even above 300 in terms of on-base percentage. He's only got an on-base percentage of 279, so that's really, really low for someone at the bottom of your order. You need guys that can get on base for Shohei Ohtani, and I think Brendan Donovan makes a lot of sense. So what would a trade for Brendan Donovan probably look like? The reports from Fabian Ardaya and Katie Wu is that it would be an expensive acquisition. So I don't know if the Dodgers would just acquire Brendan Donovan by himself, or do you try to make this a package deal and you get one of the St. Louis Cardinals relievers who are also reported to be being shopped? You've got Steven Matz. Not a big fan of him. I don't think he's any good anymore. You've got Phil Maton. I don't think Maton's really that great of a reliever either. I don't really trust him. Ryan Helsley, the big name being shopped. He'd be a rental. I think he would make a lot of sense for the Dodgers to go after. We've talked about Helsley plenty of times, but this is a big-time reliever who can throw 102 miles per hour. He has high-velocity stuff. He's certainly accustomed to closing out games. He's got 105 career saves. He's got 21 saves this season, 41 strikeouts over 36 innings thrown. The one kind of knock against Helsley is he allows a decent amount of hits and walks. The 139 whip does scare me a little bit, but a 3 ERA on the season, you'll certainly take that from any high leverage reliever. And his FIP is about in line with that as well. 351 FIP. Last season, Helsley was an all-star. He finished 9th in Cy Young Award voting. He had a 2.04 ERA, a 241 FIP, and he had 79 strikeouts over 66 innings thrown and led the National League with 49 saves. So this guy loves the moment. He's a high leverage arm. So I think kind of a good move for the Dodgers to consider would be packaging Helsley and Brendan Donovan together. This is certainly a much cheaper route in terms of prospect capital that would cost than going after the Emmanuel Clase and maybe Stephen Kwan package, which I certainly prefer a lot more. But Helsley and Donovan, I would expect that cost maybe Justin Robleski, who is a MLB capable starter at this point. I think Robleski could be seen in that package. I think you have to throw in a somewhat attractive prospect as well. So I don't want to see him moved, but would it cost them Alex Freeland and Robleski to get it done for Helsley and Donovan? I honestly, I think that'd be a fair trade for both sides. I don't know if the Dodgers are shopping Alex Freeland, but I do think there is a reason they haven't called him up to the majors yet. And it's because they want to continue to show that he has confidence in AAA. And if they were to call him up too prematurely at the big league level and he struggles, that certainly would suppress his trade value. So that's kind of my thinking. I think you would look at a package of Robleski and Freeland and maybe one throw-in prospect, or they throw in a James Outman, and in return you get Ryan Helsley and Brendan Donovan. So let me know your thoughts. Let me hear your guys' comments on Brendan Donovan or Ryan Helsley. Do you like it? Do you want those players? Do you think it'd be a good addition for the Dodgers? You can drop some questions below as well. Hit that like button while you're here. So just to give you guys some more perspective on Brendan Donovan, I think he'd probably bat 7th or 8th in the Dodgers lineup. So maybe the lineup would look something like if they made this move in the next 2 days, you probably have Betts leadoff, Ohtani 2nd, Freeman 3rd, Will Smith 4th, Teoscar Hernandez 5th, and then or Max Muncy. Let's say Max Muncy comes back. So Max Muncy is probably 5th. Teoscar Hernandez is 6th. Brandon Donovan, I think, would be 7th. Tommy Edmonds 9th, and I'm clearly forgetting someone. Oh, Andy Pajes. Andy Pajes is probably 7th, Donovan 8th, and Edmund 9th. I think that would be a pretty good and deep lineup. Javier Tier asking, Outman, Miller, Ward, highly to be traded, ? I don't think James Outman is surviving this trade deadline. I think James Outman is up right now to be kind of a showcase. At least at the very least, he provides some defensive value. And maybe there's a team out there that feels like they can turn James Outman's career around. So I do think James Outman is trade bait. I think Bobby Miller is someone that, they're trying to get his career turned around as well. He could make a lot of sense to be a throw-in for that Helsley Donovan trade. I know that the Cardinals have been interested in Bobby Miller in the past. When we're talking about previous Cardinals trades, even Nolan Arenado to an extent, Bobby Miller was someone that they asked about. And this was at a time where Bobby Miller actually had value and was pitching good at the big league level. So I could see St. Louis saying, hey, we want Bobby Miller. And then Ryan Ward, it's just crazy that they haven't given this guy any shot at the big league level. Ryan Ward has been a machine in Oklahoma City this season. He's got 28 home runs, 92 RBIs. He's got an OPS over 1,000. Like a team like the Chicago White Sox should be begging the Dodgers to have Ryan Ward on their roster. Like if the Dodgers aren't going to give Ryan Ward any big league opportunities, then one of these bottom feeders, whether it's the Rockies or the White Sox or the Minnesota Twins, they should be giving Ryan Ward a shot. So I think Ryan Ward is someone that could be traded. I actually think a fair trade would be Ryan Ward for a Mike Tauchman. If the Dodgers are looking for a corner outfielder and they want a rental and someone that's cheap, who has been having a good season and is a good defender, then I think Mike Tauchman for Ryan Ward straight up would be a good trade. I know that the Dodgers haven't been linked to Mike Tauchman per se, but he is certainly a name I've name dropped before. I think he'd make a lot of sense for the Dodgers. He's had a good major league career overall this season for the White Sox. He's hitting 283 on base percentage of 370, OPS of 832, 6 home runs. So if the Dodgers aren't going to play Ryan Ward, then just get someone who's kind of like that Kevin Kiermaier role of last season. So that's my thoughts on Mike Tauchman. Good replacement for Conforto potentially as well. What's up, Moose 1032? I see you. Yeah, feel free to continue to drop questions, and we'll get to some more trade deadline updates for the Dodgers. So the Red Sox have been reported to have interest in our catcher, Dalton Rushing. That's per Sean McAdam of Mass Live. The Dodgers apparently have been scouting some of Boston's high A affiliates, and they've been monitoring shortstop prospect Franklin Arias and left-handed prospect Brandon Clark, not to be confused with the NBA basketball player. At first thoughts and glances, I would not be thrilled if the Dodgers traded Dalton Rushing for some prospects. This kind of feels like a repeat of when the Dodgers traded Michael Bush for Zaire Hope and Jackson Ferris. Now, it seems like in the short-term picture, Michael Bush is having a great turnaround and great opportunity with the Chicago Cubs. And on the flip side, it seems like the Dodgers have two exceptional prospects in Zaire Hope, who could be an outfielder for the Dodgers maybe as soon as 2027, and a left-handed pitcher who has just been phenomenal out there so far in Jackson Ferris. And of all the prospects, I think Jackson Ferris is the one I'm most hesitant to trade in any package deal. When it comes to Dalton Rushing now, there is a bit of a dilemma. I mean, it seems like the Dodgers are obviously committed to Will Smith, as they should be. Will Smith is a potential batting crown champion of this season. He has the best on-base percentage in all of the National League as well, and he's a great defensive catcher. He leads the National League in most runners thrown out attempting to steal a base. So they're going to commit to Will Smith. They don't want to play Dalton Rushing in the outfield. It seems like they're just adamant that he's not a good defender, even though I think I would probably try to get Rushing some reps over Conforto. But nonetheless, they don't want to play Rushing in the outfield. And with the infield basically kind of filled up with Freeman, of course, and then when Muncy comes back in a couple weeks, they're basically stuck with Dalton Rushing being a backup catcher. And so you have to ask yourself, if you can get some great pieces for the future for a guy that's just a backup catcher, do you make that trade? I don't know how I feel about that, because a year ago when the Dodgers were trying to potentially swoon the White Sox for Garrett Crochet, and the White Sox wanted Dalton Rushing and the Dodgers said no, it kind of buzzed me out that you wouldn't trade Dalton Rushing for Garrett Crochet, who the Dodgers are going to see later this afternoon, evening game in Boston. So we'll see how that goes. So you wouldn't trade Rushing for Crochet, but now you're going to trade Rushing for some prospects. It seems like too big of a gamble. I would rather trade Dalton Rushing for some big league proven talent. I don't even think I would trade Dalton Rushing for a reliever in its own right. Like if it's Rushing for Clase, yeah, maybe I'd do that. Rushing for Johan Duran, maybe, but Rushing for other relievers, probably not. So looking at who these guys are that the Dodgers are interested. So let's start with Franklin Arias. We have shortstop prospects, so I don't really know what the need would be to acquire another shortstop prospect. It seems like the Dodgers have a few of those, and maybe this is where it comes into play. If they were to shop Alex Freeland, they're looking at guys to replace him in the future. So Arias is 19. He's high A level right now. He's got 4 home runs, 45 RBIs, hitting 284 and a 726 OPS. Minor league career as a whole, 385 on base percentage, 826 OPS, 48 stolen bases. So the guy appears to be pretty quick. He's from Venezuela, and he's been a professional baseball player since 2023 when he debuted in rookie ball. Other than that, I don't know too much about him. When I look at the Red Sox top prospects right now, of course, they just called up a whole bunch of guys, so we have to take it with a grain of salt. But he is currently now the top Red Sox prospect. So you would be getting the best Red Sox prospect available because the other guys have been called up this year, such as a Roman Anthony, for example. But then the other guy, Brandon Clark, is the Red Sox fourth best prospect. And so he's a left-handed pitcher. You can never have enough left-handed pitchers, in my opinion. He is graded out to be throwing a great slider. It's a 70 grade by the scouts right now. But his changeup and control are not very good. So that's certainly something that he needs to continue to fine tune. But let's see what Brandon Clark is doing so far this season. He's thrown 12 starts. He has a 3.09 ERA, 56 strikeouts over 35 innings thrown, and a WHIP just below 1. He was drafted by the Red Sox in the 5th round. So yeah, I mean, these are two really attractive prospects, but you have to just continue to look at yourself. You have to continue to evaluate this trade and look yourself in the mirror and be like, well, is it worth it? I don't know. So Dalton Rushing is the Dodgers' top prospect. You would be flipping him. Dalton Rushing, I should say, was the Dodgers' top prospect till he's graduated. So you'd be flipping him for some prospects. So it's definitely something worth thinking about. I don't know how I feel about the Dodgers trading Dalton Rushing. I know the Red Sox need a catcher. I would try to squeeze out maybe something more win now from Boston as opposed to prospects. But I don't think we're getting Jarren Duran from them. Walker Buehler's had a bad season, so I don't know who else on the Red Sox that would be available that we could potentially go for. Matthew Plante, I wouldn't trade Rushing unless we're getting a big package deal done. Fair enough. MWG Rushing is a stud, though. Moose 1032, if they trade him, I think it'll be in the offseason, depending on fiducia at this point. In the playoffs, it's too risky for Friedman. Roy Estrada, Kevin, you spelled incline. In online. I don't get that. I don't get what you're saying. Tony Forkesh, the Donovan acquisition is meant to put pressure on Edman to play better. The Donovan trade would mean to put pressure on Edman to play better. I don't think Tommy Edman has to worry about any pressure. I think he's clearly locked into being in the Dodgers lineup every day. They gave him a 5-year extension. So I think he's good on that front. They also need Tommy Edman because just the way the depth looks right now. Kim isn't playing well. You've got Miguel Rojas, but do you want to play Miguel Rojas in the playoffs over Tommy Edman? I don't really agree with that. And then the other pieces would be Kike Hernandez when he comes back. And we know what Kike Hernandez's role is during the regular season. He doesn't give you much. But in the playoffs, this is a guy you can roll into the lineup for sure because Kike is Kike-tober in October, and the guy is just he's basically Aaron Judge in the playoffs. I should say Kike Hernandez in the playoffs is Aaron Judge, but he is not Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge doesn't show up in the playoffs, but you should get what I'm saying. Other things that the Dodgers have looked into, apparently Harrison Bader was a name that Fabio and Ardaya said they would like him for his defensive capabilities. I don't think Harrison Bader is very good, to be honest. And if that's who they were to acquire, I would not be a fan of that. This season, Harrison Bader is having a good season overall, 767 OPS with 12 home runs. But career-wise, he has a 705 OPS, and he was on the Mets NLCS roster last season, and he was borderline unplayable. So I'm not buying this. I think it's a flash in the pan. I don't think the Dodgers would trade for a guy like Harrison Bader. He just doesn't make them better. So why would they make that trade? Trying to figure out if Mookie Betts is playing for the Dodgers today, but it doesn't appear to be the case. But I want to hear what you guys are thinking about. Drop some questions. Drop some other rumors. Drop some other names, other predictions you want me to make. It's a Saturday trade deadline update for the Dodgers edition, so we're just keeping up to date with currently where the Dodgers look, as the deadline is about 5-6 days away now. So they've got time to make a move, but time is starting to run out a little bit. MLB Insider Jim Bowden proposed Dodgers trade for twin star relievers Johan Duran and Griffin Jacks, as well as utility man Willie Castro. The return package would cost the Dodgers the following: Josue De Paula, Jackson Ferris, Bobby Miller, and outfielder Jaron Elkins. I'm not giving up De Paula and Jackson Ferris for relievers. No, thank you. Like I just don't think that is the right call for the Dodgers. I don't think you give up 2 top prospects for relievers. Also, we saw Griffin Jacks have a meltdown in Los Angeles. So no, thank you. I want Duran, but I don't think he's a realistic target for the Dodgers at this point. I think it was Ken Rosenthal or Bob Nightingale recently put out the report that the Dodgers don't feel the need to overpay for a reliever. They invested a lot in the offseason when they added Tanner Scott, Kirby Yates, re-signs Blake Trinan, and they don't want to get put into a position now where they have to give up a haul to add another reliever, because they have the same mindset that many do, that relievers are volatile at the end of the day. And so there's no guarantee that whichever guy they were to bring over is the same guy for the next 2 years. So I certainly understand the risk and the fear that the Dodgers have and are hesitant to make a big trade like that. Javier T, what do you think happens with Roki? We talked about Roki Sasaki a few days ago. I don't expect him to be a contributor for the Dodgers this season. They may get him back in late August or early September, and they'll probably just throw him out there for a few starts and get him some confidence and experience. But I don't expect Roki Sasaki to be on the playoff roster at this point. I would like to see the Dodgers turn him into a reliever this for the remainder of this season. But yeah. What do you think about the Yankees trades? So they acquired Ryan McMahon the other day. I don't think Ryan McMahon is a good acquisition for the Yankees at all. I think the Yankees have kind of become fools, and it's a show of what this franchise used to be. I mean, Ryan McMahon is a good defender, but other than that, he's Joey Gallo of third base. He strikes out more than anybody. He has a very poor on-base percentage and poor OPS, especially on the road. His OPS on the road is below 600. They should have waited for Eugenio Suarez. That's the move. That's a needle mover that can help you win a championship. Ryan McMahon isn't helping you win anything. So as someone that doesn't want to see the Yankees succeed, I'm fine with them making the wrong move because he's not going to help them. What about Sandy Alcantara? I don't think the Dodgers are going to trade for Alcantara. I think Sandy will get traded. I think it will be to a team that's trying to win the National League and competing for the Dodgers. I could see the Mets pulling that deal off. I could see the Chicago Cubs going for Alcantara, but I don't think the Dodgers are going to get him. I don't think the Dodgers are going after starting pitching, period. I mean, they could go after maybe an innings filler, but it won't be anyone of note. I think their playoff rotation should be set. They've got the big four now with Ohtani throwing and starting games. And then, I mean, they'll have to figure out what they want to do with Clayton Kershaw, but he's certainly someone in the mix. And then Emmett Sheehan continues to look like he's a very viable starter. So I think they're good on that front. Bullpen has to be the focus. They will get a reliever before the trade deadline. There's a lot of options out there. It's just a matter of who. And I'll talk about Dustin May in a second because there's rumors with him as well. MWG, what would it take to get Stephen Kwan? Kwan would definitely be very expensive. I think he's kind of like in that same tier as Brendan Donovan, but it would cost probably even more. So again, I think for Kwan, I don't know if the Guardians need a shortstop, but I think Alex Freeland, yet again, he would make a lot of sense to be a headliner. And then you throw them. I think Robleski could be someone they are legitimately shopping to multiple teams. So I could see them maybe throwing in Robleski and Freeland for Kwan. Again, it's repetitive, but I think that's a fair trade. Maybe that's where they also throw in Dustin May. Maybe the Guardians just want someone to eat some innings. I mean, the Guardians did take Noah Syndergaard from us, so maybe they would take Dustin May. But there are numerous reports out there now that Dustin May is on the trade block. The Dodgers are listening and potentially shopping themselves with Dustin May for an outfielder, which is something I think I've said a few times in the past. It makes a lot of sense to move Dustin May for outfield help because the Dodgers may not have a need for Dustin May pretty soon. The starting rotation is getting filled out, and they've got enough guys now to fill up a 6-man rotation. And then that just leaves Dustin May in the bullpen. Dustin May is an expiring contract. I don't think the Dodgers plan to re-sign Dustin May, and I don't think they really need Dustin May in the playoffs, to be honest. So why not flip him for some outfield help? I think the Dodgers need outfield depth pretty badly. I think they could potentially use 2 outfielders, to be honest. You've got to replace Conforto, and then you need that additional outfield depth. I mean, there is a possibility that they leave Kim off the playoff roster altogether if he is to just fall into a black hole slump. So it wouldn't shock me to see the Dodgers be aggressive and potentially get 2 outfielders. Let's see what else we've got. Moose 1032. Is there any chance the Dodgers move Mookie off shortstop to lighten his load and focus on hitting again? I mean, the logical thing to do is definitely to move Mookie Betts away from shortstop. But this team is stubborn. I think Mookie is even more stubborn. I think they're committed to this shortstop for the rest of the season. The only way I think the Dodgers make a big move is if a couple things happen. They fall into another slump like they did a few weeks ago where they lose another 10 out of their last 12 or something along those lines. And all of a sudden the division is at risk. If the Padres or San Francisco pull within maybe a couple games of the Dodgers and Mookie is still struggling, I think they have to be super aggressive and make that switch. The other thing that I think could happen is they wait till the playoffs. And the reason they wait till the playoffs is because they just were blinded by this whole obvious thing from the get-go. And now that their season is legitimately in jeopardy, they make some aggressive panic moves. They move Mookie to right field. They move Orb to second base. And then they have Edman play shortstop. Or Rojas, who knows? But I think the Dodgers are all in on this season, unfortunately, with Mookie Betts playing shortstop, even though the stats indicate that he's struggling offensively. And anyone that knows this sport well would be able to tell you that shortstop is one of the most taxing positions on your body, and it will certainly affect your bat. Javier T, any expiring contracts that catch your attention for next season? I don't really think – I'm not even thinking about potential free agents right now. I mean, the Dodgers will be in on Kyle Tucker, so that's the big fish that they'll certainly be interested in. And the way that the Dodgers outfield looks at the moment, I mean, adding a guy like Kyle Tucker would really help them, and he's just one of the best in the sport. But I haven't digged too deep into other free agent targets. They'll probably look into some relief help and some bench depth. But no, I haven't really looked too deep into free agency yet. So this will be the last call for questions. So make sure to get those questions in you. The Incline Dodgers podcast is brought to you by TickPick. Anyone go to My Chemical Romance tonight? Because I'll be there. It's at Dodger Stadium. So if you haven't gotten your My Chemical Romance tickets yet and you're a big fan, go ahead and check out TickPick. They've got some great deals out there right now. No service fees at checkout. If you're not a concert person, I mean, you can think about getting some Dodger tickets. Anyone go to any Dodger games anytime soon? Again, I recommend downloading the TickPick app and getting some Dodger tickets. Maybe you want to go see Shohei Ohtani start. Maybe you want to get some Shohei Ohtani home runs, sit in the home run seats. There's a lot of great opportunities, and it's concert season. It's summer. It's just a lot of fun events happening. So go ahead and check out TickPick. And I just dropped a link to our Discord channel if you guys want to come talk some Dodgers, talk MLB trade deadline, keep up with all the rumors, talk during live games. I highly recommend joining our Discord. We have over 100 members. It's a very fun chat. So last call for questions. I've not seen the Dodgers dropping any lineups yet, not seeing any other news. But to kind of recap everything real quick, Brendan Donovan, the likelihood that he gets moved to the Dodgers, I'm going to say 40%. I don't think he's their top target. I think the Dodgers have checked in on Brendan Donovan, but I think it's less likely to happen than actually happened. Ryan Helsley, I think there's like a 60% chance they acquire Helsley. I do think Helsley will get moved. Helsley himself has said he thinks there's like a 90% chance he's getting traded. So sounds like he's not going to be a St. Louis Cardinal when this deadline's done. So I think Helsley and the Dodgers, I put out a 60% chance. The likelihood that the Dodgers trade Dustin May before the trade deadline, I'm giving it a 75% chance. I think there's a very strong possibility that the Dodgers are going to trade Dustin May. So I think it's pretty likely. I'll give it a 75% chance. And then do the Dodgers trade Dalton Rushing for prospects? I'm putting that at like a 10% chance. I'm just not buying it. I don't think they're going to do it right now. Certainly mid-season, I just don't think the Dodgers will trade Rushing. I could definitely see them maybe reevaluating and rethinking things in the offseason. But I think for now, they've got to keep Rushing in the playoffs. You know, he's a good backup in case of an emergency. You never know what could happen with Will Smith. So I do think that the Dodgers do plan to keep Dalton Rushing for now. But again, I'm not the Dodgers. I could totally be wrong, and things could certainly change. But I have a hard time seeing the Dodgers moving him. They already got rid of Austin Barnes. Then they're going to potentially trade Dalton Rushing. So now they're down to Hunter Fiducia and Will Smith. It just doesn't seem very Dodgers like. I'm not seeing any other questions. So yeah, I mean, this might be the time to close it out. So appreciate everyone tuning in for these Dodgers trade deadline updates. We'll continue to do videos and get some guests on as we get more and more rumors. But this is an exciting time of the year. It's definitely one of my favorite times of the year, MLB trade deadline. So curious to see what the Dodgers will do, but appreciate everyone. Thank you for tuning in, and hit that like button on your way out and drop a comment. Who do you think the Dodgers are going to acquire, or who do you want to see the Dodgers acquire? Enjoy your weekend, everyone. Go Dodgers, and let's